Hey guys, it's Tombox. Okay, so this is the Lost combo number 1. You guys called me on not giving you guys the most thorough of Gear Freed combos, and you guys are right. I've been holding it to myself, so you know what? This video is all about giving you guys a combo that starts with Gear Freed. Infernobles, super strong as long as they're able to combo out, but you know, hand traps are a thing, and getting hand trap will usually end your turn. So this is what I am going to show you to you guys. We're going to start with a Gear Freed, so here we go. And this one will actually do a combo very similar to the previous board. I would say 99% of the way there, and with an equivalent 8 on the board, an equivalent synchro 8. So we're going to special summon out the red layer, and we're going to use Durendal effect. We're going to pop the Durendal, get ourselves a Renault. So now we have Renault. We're going to activate Gear Freed to summon itself out, banishing this. Okay, so that's on the field. Special summon out the Renault, and we're going to get the Durendal back, and we're going to equip it onto the Gear Freed. Basically, any means that you can get here, whether it be an O-Gear in the graveyard, all the same, all the better, so that you can't get an Nibiru. So that, well, now that Nibiru is out of the question, we're going to go into the Isolde. Isolde's effect, specifically add the 5. And use Isolde and dump 2 cards using, has to be a Phoenix Blade. If you have Phoenix Blade in hand, make sure you equip it and get it into the graveyard as soon as you can, because you have to use it. And we're going to throw a Smoke Grenade in here to get the Genba. We're doing the old school play going into the Tatsunoko, so we're going to link this one down into Link Cross right away. Link Cross generates 2 tokens for us, alright? And with the 2 tokens, we're going to synchro the first one with the Genba going into Metal Marcher. This one's an early Metal Marcher combo compared to the other ones, which uses Metal Marcher much later. Effect of this, we're going to go into the Genba. We're going to put this in the graveyard, and now we are going to summon out the Tatsunoko. Now, if you get disrupted on the Isolde, what you can do for recovery is make sure you have Oliver. Oliver is just really, really good to help you extend, because it provides you with that tuner. And I guess even here, if you haven't used Renault or anything like that, you can summon out Renault and you can just keep going. Okay, now we're going to synchro with the Tatsunoko. That's right, we're synchroing with Tatsunoko right away from our hand, and we're going to summon out the equivalent. Well, it's not really a true equivalent to Borreload Savage. It's actually going to be Sovereign Lord Omega, and we're going to use the effect right away. So we're going to rip 1 card out right away just to get a quick check. If you get lucky, you might even rip another hand trap. Maybe if they had double hand trap, now they lost one, and now you get to go through with a full combo. And okay, now Link Cross side, we're just going to take the Metal Marcher, and we're going to go to our Crystron Halqifibrax. Halqifibrax, this part should be more or less self-explanatory, but it's not. It's not self-explanatory. I would not jump to that conclusion if I had no choice. So now we're going to jump this straight into the Auroradon. Okay, still makes a lot of sense, still can follow this. Auroradon's effect, we're going to jump out 3 tokens. All right, now that we have our 3 tokens, the effect of Despota 1 comes back, special summon onto the board. Now this is huge, you can kill your opponent technically, but we're going to synchro, and instead of synchroing for a 4, we're going to synchro for a 7. All right, synchro for a 7. This is the part where you go into the Power Tool Dragon, and with the Power Tool Dragon, activate the effect. Make sure you can get your hands on a DDR. If you can't get a DDR, Living Fossil is okay. The other card that I would personally prefer would be, well, actually Living Fossil would be amazing, to be honest. It actually works out just fine. But DDR would be your best choice. Okay, so one of the DDR gets added to your hand. Here you use Auroradon getting rid of your Power Tool. I didn't really think about actually getting rid of the Power Tool, but get rid of the Power Tool. Ignore the level 7 that you already have on board, because you generate another 3 body onto the field by going into the Colt Wing. So Colt Wing, and that gives me 2 more bodies, and that gives back the Despot. So you're using Despot twice in the 1 turn. This is the part where you synchro into the 4. So you take the Despot, and boom, now you have your Herald of the Arc Light. This is fantastic. This is the part where with the DDR, what you can do is, the reason why I didn't banish the Phoenix Blade so soon is because what if you actually drew into the Living Fossil instead? Then you probably want the Living Fossil a bit more than the DDR. So from here, we're going to banish with the Phoenix Blade. We get to control where our Genba goes. We're going to banish the Genba and maybe the Renault. And now we're going to add the Phoenix Blade back to add the Phoenix Blade. And now we can pay cost for the DDR without losing anything getting banished. Like, if you missed on this, then you could probably just instead just grab a Living Fossil, because if you give him 2 DDR and Living Fossil, well, instead of paying for cost now you can just Living Fossil the stuff back. We're going to pay for cost, we're going to get back our Genba. Now this is a 3 token. Remember, these levels are always going to be combined, so if you want to really capitalize this and you also want the roll-in, what you can do is you can synchro here first, all right? synchro here into the Roland. This is now a 4, this is a 5, and activate the effect, of course. And now you can synchro these two away, which is perfect. Now you can go into a 9, and now you're guaranteed the effect, and you have a pop, and you rip one card out. So during now, we're gonna go into perhaps, is there anything else I want to equip? Probably nothing here. So now we're going to just get our blade back so that we can have an extra blade. Let's just get rid of, say, a Genba, and let's get rid of our red layer, and we have our blade back. Okay, so to finish this off, end phase, Roland, we're going to dump into the graveyard and equip, and now we get to add, I guess, another Gearfried into our hand, and then Charles's effect is going to go off, and we're just going to put Smoke Grenade. See, you could have done Smoke Grenade here too. It would have been the same idea. Now get Smoke Grenade, and you're going to equip yourself an Ogier. Well, if you didn't equip the Ogier already, just equip the Ogier, or just equip the one that you're missing. And then now you can use Smoke, pop it, Charles pop, rip a card out of their hand, and here's the thing. They're working with 3 cards now because technically all the monsters that have been summoned, now this one is kind of like in a bit of a floaty spot because this one's currently banished, but they're working with 4 cards versus 2 negates, a pop, and you know what they're playing. So, well, more or less you'll know what they're playing because you banished a card, but this gives you a lot more control. And of course the pop is coming from the Roland, so you have a Roland pop, you have something coming back. So in other words, you're still fine on the turn after. You have a field control and you have negations. So this is the Gearfried start. This is the good Gearfried start. And look, it didn't use any of the dark pieces. Okay, this is the final meta combo that I'm going to showcase to you guys, which revolves around starting with a Gearfried up in the corner so that you can play with the force space. Now this time around, we've got another kind of weird break, which is we have the Coltwing in hand. If you have the Coltwing in hand, you're going to have to go through the Plague Spreader route. And this one actually ends with 1 less monster unless you have an additional extender to push the levels so that you can actually hit that ceiling. Otherwise, it's fine. This board is not that bad either. I think it actually works pretty well, especially against other combo decks that are trying to break your board, because you're ending with a VFD this time. All right, so with that being said, let's get this combo started. Starting off with a normal summon of the Ogier. Ogier is going to dump this into the graveyard. We're going to activate the Durendal now, and you guys use the Durendal effect, and we're going to add the Renault into our hand, popping this card. Now we're going to special summon out the Renault from our hand, and we're going to add to our hand the Gearfried. Special summon out the Gearfried by banishing the Durendal. So that's an activated effect, of course. Now we're going to link summon. We're going to link away our 2 monsters into our copy of Isolde. Now Isolde's effect doesn't really matter as much here. You can add a card. If you don't feel safe, then don't do it. Maybe you can actually wait for the Ogier equip first. If you don't want to, you'll just be down 1 card, which is fine by me. You know what? Let's actually not add a card with this because we're actually not going to use the card anyway. So with that in mind, we're going to activate our Ogier equipped to the Gearfried. Now that makes this a little bit safer. And now we're going to activate the effect of Isolde, dumping 4 cards because we are going for the Armageddon Knight. So these are the 4 you're going to dump, keeping the DDRs available. And we're going to summon out the Armageddon Knight now. And Armageddon Knight summon, and the effect of Armageddon Knight we're going to dump into the graveyard Plague Spreader. Okay, so with Plague Spreader, we're going to activate Plague Spreader. We're going to put back a card, and we're going to put back the Coltwing. Remember, this card, this hand here, we're going to put a little pseudo card here that we don't have, because if we added the card, then we would have had an additional one. But let's put this one back, and the likelihood of you redrawing the same card you put away is, well, very, very slim. And hopefully you shuffle well enough so that you won't get the same card. So right now, you know the top card is Coltwing, and we're going to summon back our Plague Spreader. We're going to link down our Isolde into the Link Cross, and once we get to the Link Cross, we summon out the effect of 2 tokens. All right, so we're back in business. Here we're going to go into Metal Marcher. We're going to synchro away the Plague Spreader, which will get banished. And some people always say that this is a bit of a waste because you don't get the effect. But what I do get the effect, the only effect I care about is turning this into a tuner. So we're going to turn our copy of Power Tool Dragon, and that's a tuner now. We're going to activate the effect of Power Tool Dragon, and we're going to reveal DDR, DDR, and DDR, or try to get DDR out as much as possible. If you don't, then you'll completely miss out on the rest of the board, and that's going to be pretty awful. But if you do miss DDR, it's not the end of the world. There is an actual way to actually play through a bit of it, because you can still synchro these two into making a board load Savage, and that's if you miss the DDR. But anyways, let's get with the DDR. We're gonna add it to our hand, and the other two, well, they just go away. Technically, you're supposed to shuffle right now, so why don't we just shuffle up right now so that we hopefully don't draw into the same card. The odds are very slim, and now we're going to link these two away. In fact, we're gonna shuffle again anyway, because we're going to Crystal Halqifibrax, and Halqifibrax, we're going to activate the effect, and now we have to fetch and search, actually. Find our little Earth Tuner, Despot 001. And now we're just going to synchro these two. We need the space for the Coltwing, guys, so the Coltwing can actually give us some space. Hopefully we don't draw into it, but we're going to Formula Synchron now, and Formula Synchron's effect, we're going to draw a card. Don't be Coltwing, thank goodness. It's a Neospace Connector. That's actually not bad. Now we're going to link these two off into our Auroradon with our double machine. And if we get the Auroradon's effect, we're going to summon up. And here's all our tokens, and with all our tokens, that's going to activate our 001. So this is the not so obvious step, because if you use this and turn it into a Herald, all you get is, well, a Herald, and that's it. Because if you get rid of these two and get a Coltwing, you'll fill your board with tokens, and you have a Coltwing, Herald, and a Gearfried, which isn't exactly an ideal board. So instead, we're just going to activate the Auroradon right now, because it generates a level 7 monster, because it has a mandatory effect for the Coltwing to summon out 2 tokens. If you can't fulfill that order, well, guess what? You just don't summon those tokens. It's mandatory 2. So we summon out Coltwing. Coltwing's effect will activate, and now we have a Coltwing. And don't worry about this card blowing up. It's not. It's got a token on the board. It's not likely going to die. And well, with Coltwing on board, this is a 7. This is a 1. What we're going to do here is we're going to try to maximize here. We're going to play the DDR card, but before we do, I believe we do have a couple of warriors that we can actually banish for the Divine Sword. Let's just get rid of the Renault, and let's get rid of the Armageddon Knight. And now we have the Divine Sword, so that we don't have to really pay cost for anything. And you can't get rid of this token just yet. The order matters because this level changes. Activate the DDR now, get rid of the Phoenix Blade, and we can summon back, well, the one bad tuner that we got rid of earlier. Here's our tuner, and that's Plague Spreader. Plague Spreader, we can synchro with this guy. All right, and now it's back in the graveyard, which is nice. We're gonna go into our Charles. We're gonna go straight into the Charles, and now we can go and synchro these two off. And finally, we can end with a Herald, Charles, Gearfried. This is if you draw into the Coltwing. This is your little backup plan. However, if you know that you can win with a VFD, then win with the VFD. No one's stopping you from winning with the VFD. In fact, both combos allow you to go into a VFD in exchange for not ripping your opponent's hand apart. That's the exchange. The other one I would say is a little bit better, because you VFD them after you go into a copy of the Psyframe Lord Omega. But this one, on the other hand, it's a little bit different because, well, you didn't get that check. But it's up to you. Do you want to VFD at this point, or do you not want to VFD at this point? Also, keynote, if you have an additional extender, then you can go ahead and Plague again. So you can actually get the Plague for free, I believe, as long as you have enough warriors in your graveyard. I don't know if you do have enough. I don't think. Usually you won't have enough warriors in the graveyard. So if you don't have enough warriors, or if you don't start with no gear, then you will have enough warriors to one more so that you can put the Plague back onto the field. I don't know why you would want to do that, because there's really no benefit to doing something like that. And if you want to kill your opponent, this is also enough to kill your opponent too. So this is the rundown of why, even if you draw into Coltwing, you're fine. All right, guys. And you know what? There are right and wrong ways to actually combo with the deck. I had to really think about it. But if you go into Coltwing, 90% of the time you have to use Armageddon Knight combos. But if you start off with Gearfried, then do the combo earlier in this video. If you open with just a Neospace Connector and you did a hand check, do the other combo in the previous video where you can end with the standard board of Herald, Charles, and Savage. That is like, because you already knew it was safe, you know you can basically win the game once you do the hand rip. Do that instead. That's the right way that you should combo. Know which opening hand goes for which combo. That's my biggest tip to you guys. This is going to be the last Infernoble Knight combo deck profile for you guys. It's not even it's just a combo demo for you guys until they get updated with the Phantom Knight stuff later on after the release of Phantom Rage. So that's all I got for this video, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button. This is something that you guys asked for, so that's why I'm doing it. And that's all I got. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good day, and don't forget to hit subscribe, like the video.